the weird thing is Jimmy Kimmel should have got canceled when he told people that when he advocated for denying unvaccinated people emergency services when they were having a heart attack. Remember that? And when he was for mandating experimental medical treatment. And so those are the things that, should have got him canceled. But of course it didn't. And then it's something like this.
Here's to hoping I don't get immediately canceled today, since first time guest hosting, because I think there's another person in terms of getting canceled here. Let me pull up the slide here. Jimmy Kimmel pulled off air by ABC for Charlie Kirk comments. After FCC pressure, Jimmy Kimmel is facing criticism from the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission for remarks about the politics of the man who is accused of killing Mr. Kirk, the conservative activist. Have you heard the actual monologue, Jimmy? Because I'm going to play that right now.
Yes, I have. Go ahead, play it.
All right, here we go.
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns.
Okay, so
there's nothing wrong with it. The joke was solid, actually. So he's got his writers are solid. The joke about that's the fourth stage of grief construction. That's a funny joke, but the problem was the first part of what he said, right?
I think that's what they're talking about. They're saying that he's in hot water because he lied about the political ideology of the alleged shooter. Now, I don't know how you feel. I don't even know if that is the alleged shooter at this point in terms of my own beliefs, but that's what they're saying. And it's sort of unclear, at least to me, because I don't know if you saw Ken Klippenstein's reporting, but basically all of his friends are saying he's sort of apolitical. He doesn't really post about anything political. I think both sides are weaponizing this in order to score political points, to say, hey, this is a radical left, lunatic. Other side is saying, no, this is a right wing, Groyper. I've heard that as well. So I don't know what the hell is going on. But here,
certainly for Jimmy Kimmel to imply that kid's a right winger or a MAGA. Or it seems ridiculous. He did it, and he did it in a really kind of sleazy way also. And again, that's not comedy, what he's doing. What he's doing is just partisan claptrap. He's feeding chum to the rabid partisans. And that's not what comedy's about. Comedy's about challenging the status quo. Comedy's about challenging your audience. So I mean, Jimmy Kimmel, he's never done a comedy show without an applause sign above his head. So
when was the last time any of the late night hosts challenged the establishment or challenged power? I mean, I don't think those are the comedians that are really pushing the forefront of. He challenges power when it's the party he doesn't like. So if he doesn't like Donald Trump and the Republicans, so he challenges them. And then they all make excuses for the Democrats. It's the weirdest thing. And then of course somehow he gets called a lefty. Those aren't lefties. Those are establishment authoritarian Democrats. They're not liberal. They're illiberal. The weird thing is Jimmy Kimmel should have got canceled when he told people that when he advocated for denying unvaccinated people emergency services when they were having a heart attack. Remember that? And when he was for mandating experimental medical treatment. And so those are the things that, should have got him canceled, but of course it didn't. And then it's something like this. So I don't know what's up next for Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe he's going to do a stint on Naked and Afraid. That sounds like good.
If you're going to be outside, you're going to want to be somewhere and naked. You want to be somewhere warm. So, hey, I got it. Why don't they drop him off at Epstein Island? At least he'd know his way around.
Well, maybe he'll write a $1 million check to Turning Point USA, which is, I think, what they want.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, this idea, I saw there was a petition circulating on Twitter or X, and there was all these comedians saying that, oh, we can't be censored. Every time I've ever done a late night television show, I've been censored. They go over with a fine-tooth comb about what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. So this idea that all of a sudden censorship just started with Jimmy Kimmel is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, 100%. We'll get to that in a second. So let's see what the New York Times is writing about this. So they say ABC on Wednesday evening, announced on Wednesday evening that it was pulling Jimmy Kimmel's late night show indefinitely after conservatives accused the longtime host of inaccurately describing the politics of the man who was accused of fatally shooting the right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. The abrupt decision by the network, which is owned by the Walt Disney Company, came hours after the chairman of the FCC, Brendan Carr, assailed Mr. Kimmel and suggested that his regulatory agency might take action against ABC because of remarks the host made on his Monday telecast. Mr. Carr, in an interview on a right-wing podcast on Wednesday, said that Mr. Kimmel's remarks were part of a, quote, concerted effort to lie to the American people, and that the FCC was, quote, going to have remedies that we can look at. Frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, Mr. Carr told the podcast host Benny Johnson. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take actions, frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. The decision to suspend Jimmy Kimmel Live was made by Bob Iger, Disney chief executive, and Dana Walden, the company's television chief, according to two people with knowledge of the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss a private process. Trump is pretty pleased about this, though, I have to say. He says, great news for America. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel's show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. Kimmel has zero talent and worse ratings than even Colbert, if that's possible. Yes, it is indeed possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also horrible. Do it, NBC. President DJT. I mean, this is, you got to give it to Trump. He's funny.
I mean, it's certainly beyond ridiculous that the FCC would try to censor a late night comedian's monologue. That is silly. I wonder what kind of remedies they're talking about, because every news show says unbelievable lies every day, right? I think the New York Times, I think they had a slogan, the truth comes at a cost, but the lies are free. So, and I mean, what was Russiagate but one repeated lie after another? What was the coverage of COVID and ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and the vaccine? It was one lie after another. So, I mean, is really the FCC going to step in and start declaring what's true and what's not? I mean, that's not the. I don't think that's the role of the FCC. And so, it is kind of outrageous and ridiculous that they said that.
That is. I think that's the two parts of this that I'm grappling with. Is one, I don't like the idea, I'm sure you don't either, of the government weaponizing various regulatory agencies to come in and censor people. On the other hand, Kimmel works for ABC. Like you said, there is no semblance of free speech. That's not his platform. Like Jimmy Kimmel Live is not a free speech show. So why would we expect free speech coming out of this? Elizabeth Warren saying, first Colbert, now Kimmel, last minute settlements, secret side deals, multi-billion-dollar mergers pending Donald Trump's approval. Trump silencing free speech stifles our democracy. It sure looks like giant media companies are enabling his authoritarianism. Chuck Schumer says, America is meant to be a bastion of free speech. Everybody across the political spectrum should be speaking out to stop what's happening to Jimmy Kimmel. This is about protecting democracy. This must go to court. So before you chime in, I just want to remind people real quick, okay? These are the same people who said in the past, Donald Trump needs to be suspended from Twitter. He's endangering others with his tweets, and he should lose the privilege of being on Twitter. Add your name if you agree. And this is from a couple years ago. White House pushes Spotify big tech to continue crackdown on, quote, misinformation amid Joe Rogan controversy. White House continues to nudge platforms towards online censorship. So what is this all about?
Yeah, well, it's and where were these people screaming about Julian Assange being convicted of a felony for doing journalism under Biden's administration? So this idea that they're somehow champions of free speech or a free press is kind of laughable, because they were all for canceling people and censoring people when it came around COVID, when it came to social media, and they didn't have anything to say about it. So again, yeah, the hypocrisy is off the charts on this one for sure. It's go to court for what? What did the FCC didn't do anything, right? Am I wrong about this, James? It was ABC and Bob Iger who decided to suspend Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe the FCC, that guy, he shot his mouth off, but did he actually do anything? Did they do anything? I mean, what's going to go to court?
I don't know. I mean, when I was employed by big corporations, they always were very clear that you're an at-will employee. I don't know what kind of contract that Kimmel has, but I'm pretty sure corporations can fire you for whatever reason they want to. And I'm sure this is something that they're thinking about just based on what happened to Colbert, right? This is, once again, the ratings are down. Kimmel has a bloated salary. They're saying, yeah, we got to get rid of this guy somehow. Maybe this is a good opportunity for us to do something like that. That's kind of my guess, is the corporate executives thinking around this, because quite honestly, these guys are dinosaurs. I mean, this late night thing, I think you've been around that for a long time. I think the format needs to change. I think it needs a little refreshing, and you could say by your show, like, you do just as good as they do with what a fraction of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if Jimmy Kimmel, if people really love him so much, why doesn't he go do a show like Joe Rogan did? Joe Rogan gets 20 times the viewership that Jimmy Kimmel does, and he doesn't have all the flashing lights and the rockets going off. But basically his show is just talking to people. I mean, that's Jimmy Kimmel's show, is he comes out and he does a monologue and then he talks to people. That's basically what Joe Rogan does. He talks to people. So again, if they all did a podcast during COVID. It was Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, and I don't know, was it Seth Meyers? I don't even know who the other person was, but nobody watched it. Did you remember that? Do you remember when they did that? They did a 4-person podcast. That was going to be their gift to the people while we were in lockdowns, and no one gave a shit. No one watched it. No one cared. And it just reminds me, it's like, why do people watch these late night shows anymore? And I think it's mostly for a sleep aid.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they need all the flashing lights in order to make them look cooler, because you strip all that down. It's like, okay, you're kind of a hollow shell, and that's another thing too with Kimmel, is that he doesn't have really the weight to throw around like Rogan does, as far as saying whatever he wants to say. First of all, he doesn't really have anything to say other than being a partisan act, and then secondly, here it's like you're not in a free speech platform. Rogan, if you remember him, everybody was calling for his head. And Spotify is like, this is like our biggest podcast by far. Sorry, guys, we're going to keep them on air. And that's kind of how it works under capitalism. If you can demand, the attention, the money, you're probably going to be able to stay. But if your ratings are suffering, nobody likes you, then yeah, you're going to go.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is Phil Fallon, is he like the only one not on the Epstein flight list of the late night talk shows? I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't know. Fallon has not come up for me. I don't think Fallon or Myers are on the radar as far as the Epstein stuff. But who knows?
It's kind of interesting that Mike Myers has a show. Like, do people really tune in to watch Mike Myers? That is just mind-boggling.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Seth Meyers. Yes, you got me saying it too. No, Seth Meyers. It's just kind of mind-boggling. He is just another, milquetoast white guy. Middle of the road, and he's not horrible, but there's nothing special about him. And I would like to go ahead. No, I guess again, these people who are screaming about, oh, this is censorship. Where were they when they kicked the former president off Twitter? And all the other social media? Where were when they kicked RFK off of Meta because he was telling the truth about ivermectin? Where were they when they were trying to censor Joe Rogan? When they were censoring me? And everybody else on. I mean, did they not read the Twitter files? Everybody's acting like this just started. And by the way, they've been canceling people for their political beliefs. You know, the Smothers Brothers got canceled in the late '60s because they opposed the Vietnam War, right? So this is nothing new. Bill Hicks, my favorite comedian of all time, his entire set on David Letterman was cut out of the show because it was too controversial for their advertisers. So he came out, he did his set. His set got approved by their producers. He comes out, he does his set, it kills. They cut it out of the final show. So they've been censoring. This is nothing new. Late night is all about, it's corporate television. It's all about censorship. Every time I go on late night television, or every time I did, they would tell me exactly what I could and could not say, and you could not stray. So it's very rich for the people to be making this argument now. I mean, if it was the FCC who came in and got him shut down, yeah, that's a different. But it doesn't seem like that happened. It sounded like the FCC guy shot his mouth off, and then ABC just decided to do what they wanted to do.
100%. And what you're missing in the story, Jimmy, is that there's good censorship and bad censorship.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. No, that's why I'm going to leave off on this Charlie Kirk tweet, because I think this is what America really needs to listen to pay attention to the late Charlie Kirk here. Hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. Let's remember that, because it seems like the pattern over and over is that the whichever party or group is in power, they start to censor, and when they're not in power, they cry, they cry about cancellations and things like that. But when they get in power, they are one of the first to do that exact same thing. So let's just keep that in mind.
Anything to create more division in the country, anything to create more distraction over the Epstein list. That's what this feels like to me.
100%.
Microplastics are infiltrating every part of our lives. Scientists estimate we now consume a credit card's worth of plastic every single week. Through our food, our water, and even the air we breathe. One study found plastic particles in 100% of human lung samples. Nobody's safe from overexposure. It gets worse. These plastics just don't sit in your body. They cross the gut lining, they leach into your blood, and disrupt everything. They've been shown to alter gut bacteria, suppress your immune response, and increase your risk for neurodegenerative disease, metabolic disorders, and cancer. Some plastic toxins like BPA and phthalates mimic hormones, interfere with fertility, and damage DNA. Even if you eat clean or avoid packaged foods, you're still being exposed. You can't opt out, but your gut can help you fight back. Kimchi 1 from Brightcore Nutrition is a potent ally in this toxic world. It's packed with over 900 probiotic strains unique to kimchi and proven to break down BPA, helping you detox from the inside out. It doesn't just support digestion, it helps protect your cells, your brain, your hormones, and your future. Your body was never designed to handle plastic, but your gut was designed to protect you. You just have to give it the right tools. Right now, you can get 25% off with my code Dore, D-O-R-E, at the link below. For an even better deal, call my friends at Brightcore and get up to 50% off and free shipping. The number, 888-253-0418. Come see me on tour in Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.